in a world where the number of movies available is great, but many are so bad, you'll learn a new definition of hate. One man sifts and reviews through the movie sludge. One man will be the movie cop, jury, and judge. He goes by many names, but you know him by Movies Merica.
Hey, all you beautiful movie-loving people out there, live from a red carpet somewhere, surrounded by celebrities. This is the Movies Merica podcast with Van Ebert, where movie reviews meet cold brews. Van will review your favorite and maybe not so favorite movies while enjoying some ice-cold beers and saying cheers. Now let's head into the theater and join our illustrious movie reviewer du jour, who's no doubt got the beer ready to pour, Van Ebert.
Hurry, hurry, hurry! The carnival is in town! Come on, come on, come out! Bring the boys, bring the girls! Ladies and gents, bring your loved ones to the carnival here!
That was kind of creepy. Yeah, that's going all carnival here because this movie that I'm going to be reviewing tonight does revolve around a 1940s carnival there, so you can just picture some carnival barker, check out the freaks and geeks, just pulling that whole routine to get everybody in. So we are going to go back to the 20th century tonight for tonight's review of Nightmare Alley.
Step right up and behold one of the unexplained mysteries of the universe. Is he man or beast? This creature has been examined by the foremost scientists and pronounced unequivocally a man. I am prepared to offer you folks one last chance to witness this supreme oddity. Where did it come from? Begotten by the same lust and threat that got us all walking on this earth, but gone wrong somehow in the maternal womb. Not fit for living. Is it a beast? Or is it a man? You're in luck, because tonight you will see him feed. Come on in and find out.
So that was Willem Dafoe doing the narration on a trailer right there. So you may have seen, or what am I talking about? Of course you've seen, everyone's seen that movie Spider-Man No Way Home with Willem Dafoe playing Green Goblin here recently. And he's also in Nightmare Alley. So before we get into Nightmare Alley, let's go ahead and just let you know here, as you probably all know already, is that this Movies Merica podcast is on Spotify. Yep, me and Joe Rogan are still on Spotify. We got Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, other platforms that you can think of here that I am on. If you get on Apple Podcast, feel free to get on there and give me a 5-star rating there if you're feeling friendly. If you're just man, I know it's past Christmas, but I feel like giving this guy Van a way early Christmas present. So yeah, just go and give me a 5-star rating and maybe write a nice friendly review on there. It could be very short, like, hey, good podcast, or man, this podcast stinks. And you can and also Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all those platforms. Make sure you download the episodes as well. And also the podcast episode will be on moviesmerica.com. Also, if you fancy yourself a little social media, I am on Twitter and Instagram under Movies Merica if you want to share anything with me or check out my posts that I have on there. You can DM me if if you got something on your mind that you want to share with me. And again, tell me how splendiferously fantastic I am, or how pathetically terrible I am. So it's totally up to you. So it's a free country. You can do what you want. So there you go. And as always, with every episode there, kiddies, I will be drinking a beer to wet my whistle during this hard work, this exhausting, physically demanding work that I'm doing here, reviewing movies and talking into a microphone. And tonight's lucky beer contestant is Shannon Brewing Company's Tejas Light. That's right, Tejas Light. I think that means Texas and Bulgarian. I think I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. Pretty sure. And Shannon Brewing Company is from right here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So, you know what? I like to support my local businesses, keep it local, keep the money local. So that's what I'm all about. I'm all about my community, and the sacrifice I'm making for my community is drinking this Shannon Brewing Company Tejas Light, and I don't get any endorsement money or anything like that from them. I just appreciate a good cold brew. And on that note, oh yeah, that's a beer, all right. So Tejas Light. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into Nightmare Alley. So Nightmare Alley is a film noir kind of movie. There, you may know film noir from classic movies like Double Indemnity and Chinatown, Body Heat. Those kind of movies. And also kind of more recently, like L.A. Confidential, back in the 90s with Russell Crowe and Guy Pearce, Kim Basinger. I always kind of think of that movie as film noir. Some people debate me on that. But you know what? We're going to go with my vote because mine's the most important. Anyway, enough about that. But so this movie, is kind of film noir. It takes place back in the 30s and 40s. And it's a great looking movie. It's definitely a great looking movie. It's directed by Guillermo Del Toro, who I remember from way back when he did Blade 2 with Wesley Snipes. And then he did the Hellboy movies, which were awesome. And he just won Best Picture for his movie The Shape of Water, I think 2-3 years ago or something like that. So, and then he also did another great movie called Pan's Labyrinth. And most of his movies involve like the supernatural and creatures, that kind of thing. That's just one of his interests. You can just tell that's a passion of his, is the magical, the mystical, the fantasy realm, and mixing it in with real life. This one, to forewarn you, it doesn't have it's not like it doesn't have any creatures. It does kind of have overtones of the supernatural, it kind of has otherworldly vibes to it. And I'll leave it up to you whether or not how far into fruition, that actually comes into the movie when you watch it. But it's, you can definitely tell it's a Guillermo del Toro movie, which is not a bad thing. That's definitely a compliment. And this movie, it's one of those, movies, unfortunately, in 2021 that just didn't get a lot of viewers. I mean, as we found out, unless you're a Marvel movie, it would Spider-Man to be specific. Sorry, Black Widow. You basically you're in 2021 in this age of the pandemic, which is going to sound really funny when listening to this podcast in 15 years. But this pandemic is it's got people scared. A lot of people scared that would normally go to the movies, and so. Except for me, because to be honest with you, I'm getting pretty used to walking into a movie theater and I'm the only one there, which is kind of nice because it gives me that illusion that I've got my own private screening room, in my big old mansion, so that part of it's kind of cool. 9 times out of 10 I walk into a movie theater and I'm by myself, but also it's as you would imagine, you don't have to be a business major to realize that can't go on for too long. It's been going on for like a year and a half, 2 years, and eventually the movie theaters that a lot of us appreciate are gonna go the way of the blockbuster video if this keeps up. So, but this movie, Nightmare Alley, is one of those movies that just didn't get a lot of viewership. It was considered a flop, kind of like The Last Duel from Ridley Scott and The Kingsman and The Suicide Squad. Those are three other great movies that, besides the film creators' families and maybe three other people, nobody saw it, and that's unfortunate. But Nightmare Alley is one of those movies that should have got more viewers, and I want to see more movies like this because this is a adult movie with adult themes, adult content, adult subject matter, an R-rated movie with it's for adults. It's got great acting, very in-depth characterization. The screenplay is rich and robust, and it's not surface level, right? It's got substance to it. It's got depth to it, and I want more movies like that. But we're not going to get a whole lot more movies like that if they keep coming out and yours truly and maybe a couple of cockroaches are the only people in the theaters. But this movie is going to come out pretty soon on streaming, like HBO Max and all those services. And so check it out there. But yeah, it's worth seeing. Unfortunately, I accidentally went to the showing where it's the black and white version of Nightmare Alley. Apparently, I didn't read the fine print, so I saw this movie in black and white, and I plan on obviously seeing it in color. But so it kind of had the black and white thing going against it. Like I don't mind seeing black and white movies. I mean, I'll watch The Artist and Schindler's List. Those, The Lighthouse, those movies are fine in black and white. I have nothing against that. I just, Guillermo Del Toro, his movies like just explode in color off the screen. And I know I missed that crucial element of this Guillermo Del Toro movie in this. So I'm going to try to not play that into my opinion of this movie because I didn't get this movie didn't get a full shake in my viewing because yours truly didn't do his due diligence and didn't realize like this is one of those kind of like art house, illusion, showmanship, and light kind of presentations of this movie where really the geeky film school student, is really going to be the only one that fully appreciates seeing a movie like this in black and white. I would have much appreciated seeing it in color, and I plan to remedy that very soon. But so this movie is, as you can tell from the trailer, it's got plenty of suspense, a lot of foreboding vibes and characteristics to it. And it's all about like Bradley Cooper. He plays this protagonist named Stan. And at the beginning of the movie, they show him he's burying a body in the floorboards of this old shack out in the middle of nowhere and lighting the shack on fire and walking away from it. So immediately you get this vibe, this feeling that okay, something's not all right with Bradley Cooper's character in this. Like he's got some secrets, like what happened, who's the dead body, right? And what's the backstory to that? And so it gets you into the vibe that this is kind of dark and foreboding. And so Stan, he just kind of starts out from that shack, burns it down, and is a guy that's just kind of like just going out into the world, just kind of wandering the world. No direction necessarily. He's just carrying carrying an old radio and a bag and an old watch and going out to the world. And he jumps on a bus, and the bus stops in a little town. And when he's in the town, he sees like a little person, or I'm gonna say it, a midget. Okay, we're not totally PC on this podcast. So he follows the midget to the carnival. And then he goes to the carnival. He sees basically he's caught following them, and they kind of recruit him into helping out, set up the carnival, and he gets involved with this carnival. This carnival, like I said, takes place back in the 1930s, and like I said, it's a carnival. With the carnival barker, come on, Albert, bring the kid. Like that kind of carnival that I'm sure you've seen in a movie or a TV show before, where they got the fun house and the old merry-go-round and the old Ferris wheel, that kind of thing. And so as life would have it, he gets involved with the carnival, and he gets to know all the carnies there. Now, to be honest with you, this carnival did remind me of the carnival out of Ray Bradbury's classic novel, Something This Way Wicked Comes, or Something Wicked This Way Comes. Whew, I totally hosed that one. And it's kind of like the carnival that Mr. Dark had, that he ran in that novel, and then they turned Something Wicked This Way Comes into what I think is a great movie back in 1983. It was a Disney movie, and so this carnival kind of reminds me of that creepy, just this nasty, creepy, slimy, just corrupt feel to it. It's all about illusion and fooling the customers, and for some cheap money, and gives you that impression of that's exactly what it is. And actually, you know what? Just talking about that makes me want to drink a beer. So yeah, he gets involved with this carnival. Gets to know everybody, and he finds Rooney Mara's character named Molly, and they strike up a romance. And then Willem Dafoe he heads up the carnival, and he's really creepy in this movie. Willem Dafoe's character in there, I think his character's name is Clem, and he runs this what they call a geek show, where that's the show that they had in the trailer I just played you here, where is he man or is he beast? That. And so what he does is he has like these, he literally takes people off the street, like men off the street, and then grooms them until like they're just begging for food, and they're all dirty and nasty, and just and living in a cage, and gets to the point where they're so hungry, so crazed, so they're just addicted to drugs, addicted to opium, and they're so crazy that they'll do stuff like bite the heads off a live chicken, just to freak out, all the paying customers that come to see the freak show. And these characters called geeks. So Willem Dafoe, grooms these homeless men, I guess, off the street into geeks, as they call them, to be the main attraction in these freak shows is what they are. So that's what they call a geek. Is it just this crazy, drug-addled characters that literally are so crazy they bite the heads off of a live chicken. Just picture a really emaciated Ozzy Osbourne from back in the 80s biting. Well, that was a bat actually. He bit, but kind of the same idea. And so yeah, in Bradley Cooper's character, he just kind of like he basically he outgrows the carnival. And he goes to, I think it's New York City, to become a very successful medium. He becomes very good in the whole concept of mentalism. Where you're guessing what people will hold like watches in their hands, and you're guessing what people are holding in their hands. In your hand you're holding a purse, or in your hand you're holding a comb, or that. Those kind of characters there. And doing the whole thing like, okay, D. I see the letter D. Okay, did you have a son that died in World War I? I'm seeing a name, David. Those kind of folks. And so Bradley Cooper gets really good at that, and wants to take that show on the road, and wants to take Rooney Mara's character, her character's name is Molly, with him on the road to seek fame and fortune. And so they end up in New York City, and there's just the mystery starts unraveling there, and Bradley Cooper's character Stan, starts taking some dark turns and makes some terrible, tragic choices, and it just turns into this deadly game of how he's trying to be a success, but at what cost? With his act in New York City, and how badly does he want to escape his destitute and impoverished past, and his shame that he feels within himself, and the shame that he feels about who he feels he really is causes him to just make some really terrible, deadly choices. And so that's Nightmare Alley in a nutshell, without giving you away too much of the plot. That's just kind of like the jumping off point for this movie. So this movie is based on a novel that came out in 1946, and then like the very next year in 1947, they came out with a movie adaptation of it, starring Tyrone Power, who was a big powerhouse actor back in the day. And so Bradley Cooper, he does a fantastic job in this movie. I mean, he was great in A Star Is Born and American Sniper, and yeah, I'll tell you, he even said in interviews that playing this character did disturb him, and because I'm sure he's like a lot of actors. They get into character, they try to really fully understand this character, good or bad, right? I mean, a lot of the best actors and actresses, doesn't matter how evil, how good, how shallow, how in depth the character is, they feel they get the best performance out of really becoming that character, like understanding their motivations, whether their motivations make them do dastardly things or whether their motivation makes them do, charitable, good things. I mean, it doesn't really matter. They're just trying to put them in their shoes and empathize with them. And Bradley Cooper said that he did indeed that. He did a method acting thing with this character. Stanton Carlisle is his full character's name, but he goes by Stan in this, and he becomes the great Stanton when he gets to New York City with his act. And so yeah, he's definitely they portray him in this movie. He's when he gets to the carnival, he's just kind of like this wayward character, just doesn't know what to do with himself, doesn't know where he's going to go in life, finds something that he loves, finds something that he's good at, and from that springs forth some confidence and some assertiveness in life. And so then that's part of his character arc, and you really should watch this movie because his character arc is something to behold. Just when he's on the lowest lows, he's on the highest highs, and it's really a feast for the eyes and ears to see his arc. And of course, this movie has the Guillermo Del Toro staple, Ron Perlman. In this, he has a bit part in it. Of course, Ron Perlman played Hellboy in the Hellboy movies. Cate Blanchett plays a psychologist that Bradley Cooper runs into in New York City. She's trying to, she's introduced as someone who sees right through his game, right through his scams, and tries to expose him. And she becomes a major character in the movie. And then you've got, like I said, Rooney Mara is in it. David Strathairn is in the movie, has a bit part in it. I think the David Strathairn character that I remember the most is him playing Tom Cruise's older brother, Tom Cruise's older imprisoned brother in The Firm back in 1993. I think that was probably his best role that I've ever seen him in. And so, yeah, you've got plenty of characters. Oh, Richard Jenkins is also in this movie. And I'll tell you, Richard Jenkins, his character is definitely kind of an evil, not kind of, he's evil and sleazy and creepy. and threatening, and I remember seeing and hearing his character and thinking about all like the evil things he must have done. You know, the vibe they give off of his character is that he's a very rich guy, and you know, he's a rich businessman, and he's just a character where he's just done unspeakable evil, yet carries himself as, you know, a man of high society. You know, he's in New York City, and he's a respected member of the community. But yeah, he's just done some insanely evil things. You could just tell, and he in the movie he does kind of admit to some part of that there. But so yeah, Richard Jenkins, who's one of the great character actors, is also in this movie. But yeah, it's you know, and the sets in this movie, you know, like Cate Blanchett's psychologist's office is incredible. I mean, they really do a good job. Not that I can speak from experience, but really do a good job of giving you the impression that, you know, you're in the late 1930s, 1940s. I mean, and they make mention of like Pearl Harbor in this movie, you know, and America going into war, and so it's that time in history there. And I will have to say, like, another thing about the carnival is it's interesting to see that a lot of the carnival attractions do kind of play off the you know, the Bible fear, the God fearing Christians, you know, just that whole, I don't say genre, but that, you know, that sensibility of that era. You know, like a lot of people were talking, you know, they went to church. The church, you know, attendance was a lot higher then, and people prided themselves on, you know, hey, I'm a good Christian, you know, I'm a God-fearing person. And so the attractions were kind of playing off of that. And they had like one of the attractions where you walk in and there's a mirror there, and the caption on the mirror is, you know, have a good look at yourself, sinner. I mean, stuff like that, you know. And then they had another attraction where they have like someone stick their head through this hole with the spider legs on there, and they do the, you know, the whole like, I was not a good girl, and so God turned me into this scary spider. So make sure you listen to your mom and dad there, boys and girls. Like, you know, those kind of things, which back in the 1930s, you know, that's probably like, oh, it's a good, you know, good attraction to teach your kids about how to, you know, obey their parents and adhere to, you know, what they say. But watching a movie like this, it is just, it's unnerving and creepy. So, but that's one of the things that makes this movie very interesting. So, yeah, definitely check it out. You know, it's good luck finding it in the theaters anymore, but it's going to be out on streaming here pretty soon. And again, yeah, it's a great Bradley Cooper movie. So, yeah, everybody, thanks for listening to this podcast here. I'm going to wrap it up here. And again, it's on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Check me out on Twitter and Instagram under Movies Merica. And everyone, as always, thanks for listening. You guys are the best.
Hey guys, don't leave the video quite yet. Okay, I've got the popo. They're coming after me. And I don't have much time to tell you, but you need to like and subscribe this video right here, down below. It's right down there. It's just waiting. It's waiting for you down there, okay? And make sure you watch these videos over here, too. You'll be doing me a big favor. I'll be in handcuffs pretty soon. All right. Thanks for watching.